Act 40, Wedding Night, when the flowers fall. Time, the 18th year of the Red Chamber's spring. Location, Grand View Garden, Xiaoxiang Pavilion. Character, Jia Baoyu, Shui Baochai, Shirin Lin Daiyu, Zichuan, Foolish Sister, Li Wan, Jia Tanchun, Xueyan, Pinger, and several others from the Lin family. Character Profile Card. Name, Li Wan, the daughter of the prominent Li family in Jinling. Gender, female. Also known as Gong Kai, old farmer with fragrance of rice, first master's wife. Identity, widow of Jiazhu. Personality, chaste, quiet, elegant and dignified, aloof from worldly affairs. Father, Li Shouzhong, supervisor of the Imperial College. Aunt, Mrs. Li, mother of Li Wan and Li Qi. Husband, Jia Zhu, died young. Cousin sisters, Li Wan, Li Qi, wife of Zhen Baoyu. Son, Jia Lan. After Baoyu was deceived and married Baochai, he lived in a state of confusion and foolishness every day, but he still missed his cousin Lin. Little did he know that sister Lin he called for had long passed away before his marriage, like a flower that withered and fell. After Wang Shifeng put forward the exchange plan, Baoyu's marriage has been secretly conducted under the supervision of Grandma Jia and the careful planning of Wang Shifeng. Both Baoyu and Daiyu were completely unaware. That day, Grandma Jia was busy arranging a marriage for Baoyu. Daiyu was completely unaware, and after breakfast, as usual, she went with Ziwan to pay respect to Grandma Jia. After leaving the Xiaoxiang Pavilion and taking only a few steps, she suddenly remembered that she had forgotten her handkerchief, so she asked Ziwan to go back and get it while she continued walking slowly. Just as she reached the place where she and Baoyu had buried flowers together before, Daiyu heard a maid crying there. Daiyu approached and asked, "Why are you crying here?" The maid answered with tears, "I just said the wrong thing, and my older sister hit me." Daiyu asked, "Who is your sister?" After the maid finished speaking, Daiyu realized that the maid was actually the senior maid in Lady Jia's room, named Foolish Sister. Daiyu couldn't help but laugh and asked, "Did you say something wrong?" The foolish elder sister said, "I was just talking about second master Bao marrying Miss Bao." When Daiyu heard this, she was shocked as if struck by thunder, her heart beating wildly. After calming down, she asked again, "Why did Bao's second master marry Miss Bao? Why did she hit you?" Sister Shi said, "Our old lady, madam, and second madam have discussed it. Because the master is going to Jiangxi, they want to quickly discuss with Aunt Shui and bring Miss Bao over. The first reason is to celebrate for Master Bao, and the second reason is to finish their business quickly so they can also tell Lin about her husband's family." As she said this, she smiled at Daiyu. Upon hearing these words, Daiyu's heart was filled with mixed emotions. Her body felt as heavy as 1,000 pounds, yet her feet felt as light as stepping on cotton, causing her to slowly move forward one small step at a time. Just as Zijuan had just gotten a handkerchief, she saw Daiyu's face turn pale, swaying back and forth as if she had lost her soul. Zijuan hurriedly asked, "Miss, where are you trying to go?" Daiyu murmured, "I want to go ask Baoyu." Zijuan was puzzled and then helped her to go to Grandma Jia. When they arrived at the door of Grandma Jia's room, Daiyu finally came to her senses and saw Zijuan supporting her. She asked, "Why are you here?" The Lady Amethyst laughed and said, "I brought the handkerchief." Daiyu smiled and said, "You must have seen Master Bao ere arriving. Otherwise, why would you be walking here? Zijuan saw Daiyu in a daze and thought of how Baoyu was now acting foolishly, fearing that the two of them would meet and say something inappropriate. But since they had already come this far, they could only support her and go inside. At this moment, Daiyu felt as if she had regained some strength in her body. When she entered the room and saw Shirin, she smiled and asked, "Is second young master Bao at home?" Shirin didn't know what was going on. She was about to answer when she saw Zijuan quietly shaking her hand towards her. Shirin didn't understand what Zijuan meant, so she remained silent. Daiyu also ignored it and walked straight into the room, only to see Baoyu sitting there stupidly, smiling at her. Daiyu walked over and smiled at Baoyu too. After laughing for a long time, Daiyu suddenly asked, "Baoyu, why are you sick?" Baoyu smiled and said, "I am here for Sister Lin's illness." Upon hearing this, Shirin and Zijuan were so scared that their faces turned pale. They wanted to interrupt and say something, but the two of them seemed to not have heard anything and just looked at each other with silly smiles. Shirin then realized that Daiyu, like Baoyu, had also lost her sanity. After sitting for a while, Daiyu got up and left. Her footsteps seemed even lighter than usual. She finally arrived at the Xiaoxiang Pavilion, and Zijuan's heart was still hanging in suspense. Suddenly, Daiyu staggered forward and spat out a mouthful of blood, almost unable to stand. After Grandma Jia learned about Daiyu's condition, she took Lady Wang and Aunt Shui to Xiaoxiang Pavilion to visit. They saw Daiyu with a pale face, weak breath, and phlegm with blood streaks when she coughed. After leaving Xiaoxiang Pavilion, Grandma Jia told Wang Shifeng, "This child's illness may be difficult to cure. You should prepare something for her. Maybe a good wash will help. Even if she doesn't get better, it won't be too chaotic for the time being. There are also things going on at home these days." Wang Shifeng agreed, and then Grandma Jia said to Lady Wang and others, "Daiyu and Baoyu have been playing together since they were young. Having a good relationship is also natural. But now that they are older, they should understand the difference between men and women. Only then will I truly care for her. If she has other thoughts about Baoyu, what will become of her? If she falls ill because of this, even if it cannot be cured, I will not have the heart to treat her." In the days that followed, Daiyu's illness worsened day by day. Zijuan went to report on her condition to Grandmother Jia every day, but she also noticed that Grandmother Jia's heart was now completely focused on Baoyu and Bao Chai, and she didn't care much about Daiyu. No one came to ask about her condition in the Jia household, and Daiyu noticed all of this. That day, Daiyu struggled to sit up and asked Xuyen to bring her poetry book over. She also took the old handkerchief that Baoyu had given her before and threw all these things into the brazier, burning them into ashes. After burning everything, Daiyu collapsed back and fainted again. After a difficult night, Daiyu finally managed to eat a little bit, but then started coughing and throwing up again. Zijuan saw that she was in trouble, so she hurried to the main hall to find Grandma Jia. As a result, the room was silent, with only 2 or 3 old servants and a few maidservants. When she asked where Grandma Jia had gone, no one knew. Zijuan ran to Baoyu's room and, at a glance, saw that it was also empty. Zijuan probably guessed the situation about 80 or 90%, feeling a little chilly in her heart. How could these people be so indifferent? Zijuan once again went to investigate and learned that Baoyu was going to secretly marry someone at night. She couldn't help feeling angry and frustrated, but she could do nothing about it, so she returned to the Xiaoxiang Pavilion crying. At this time, Daiyu's situation was even worse. In her panic, Zijuan suddenly remembered one person, and that person was Li Wan. After Baoyu's brother, Jia Zhu, passed away, Li Wan has been living a widow's life with long hair. Today, Baoyu is getting married, so naturally the widow, Li Wan, should avoid attending. She has been managing the affairs of the Grand View Garden and was once the president of the Poetry Society. At this time, seeking her out would be the best choice. When Li Wan received the news, she was in the middle of helping Jiao Lan revise a poem. Upon hearing about Miss Lin's situation, she couldn't help but feel a little regretful. Hurriedly rushing to the Xiaoxiang Pavilion, she saw Ziwan coming out to greet her, but she couldn't say a word, only tears falling from her eyes. Li Wan hurried to see Daiyu, only to find that she could no longer speak. Li Wan was shocked and quickly went outside to instruct Zichuan. "You silly girl, what time is it now? Hurry up and change your young lady's clothes. You can't let her, a young girl, walk around naked." Upon hearing this, Ziwan burst into uncontrollable tears. Li Wan, wiping tears and feeling anxious, hurriedly instructed everyone to prepare things. Just at that moment, Lin Xiaoji's wife, including Ping Er, arrived. They said, "Just now, second madam and the old lady discussed it and decided to borrow Zijuan to help out." Li Wan and Zijian immediately understood their plan. Zijian sneered and said, "Mrs. Lin, you go ahead and eat first. When someone dies, I will naturally leave. There is no need for this." Zijian paused here, hesitated to continue, and then changed her tone. "Besides, we are staying with a sick person here. Our bodies may not be clean. Miss Lin still has some energy, and she keeps calling for me." Li Wan also said, "It is true that Lin girl and this maid have a special connection. However, Shui Yan, despite being brought from the south by her, seems to be indifferent. I think Zijuan is the one who truly cannot be separated." Ping Er thought for a moment and decided to take Shui Yan away. In the evening, Bao Yu and Bao Chai were married at the other end, while Shui Yan had already been borrowed. Daiyu finally calmed down a bit on her side, with only Zijuan and Li Wan by her side at this moment. Li Wan looked at Daiyu's expression and knew that this was probably her last flare-up of energy. Thinking that she could probably hold on for a little while longer, Li Wan went back to Daoxiang village first to take care of her own affairs. Daiyu held Zijuan's hand tightly and with effort, she said, "I am useless now. You have been serving me for several years, and I had hoped that we could always be together, but unexpectedly." Here, Daiyu paused to catch her breath before continuing, "Sister, I have no relatives here. My body is pure. I only ask you to at least have them send me back to the south." Daiyu was already out of breath by this point. Zijuan was very anxious, about to call someone to invite Li Wan, but Tanchun came in and, upon seeing Daiyu, her eyes widened and her hands were cold. Li Wan also hurried over at that moment. The three of them looked at each other in silence, tears flowing like rain. Suddenly, we only heard Daiyu loudly shouting, "Bao Yu! Bao Yu! You are so." Just as she said the word "so," she broke out into a cold sweat and fell silent. Zichuan quickly supported Daiyu, but only felt her body gradually getting colder, her eyes rolled back, and she passed away. At the same moment Daiyu took her last breath, Bao Yu and Bao Chai were getting married. Zichuan and the others all cried. Thinking of her lively and lovely past, she seemed even more pitiful today. However, Xiaoxiang Pavilion was far from Bao Yu's new room, so they couldn't hear any noise from there.